Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now February 12th of 2020, and ever since the release of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker and the end of the Skywalker saga, a lot of fans have been very worried about the future of the Star Wars franchise and exactly where it's all going to go by Disney and Lucasfilm. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, the one thing that really makes Star Wars at the end of the day, beyond, everything related to what Disney has done, we're talking about the originals and the prequels and everything related to Star Wars Legends in the EU, is that a lot of it was done by George Lucas, a lot of it was approved by George Lucas and all those stories. And I think that's the one missing link here when it comes to the Disney Star Wars trilogy, is that you don't really have a lot of ideas by George implemented into these films. Now, granted that a lot of scenes were done by George for The Rise of Skywalker that were ultimately deleted by Kathleen Kennedy because she wanted to actually have a different tone for the film. And one of the big things that really seems to bother a lot of fans out there is the fact that we're left wondering what could have been before the reshoots and the rewrites of Episode 9 and what kind of movie we would have gotten if they did not take out a lot of these scenes and if they just stuck to the script and just kind of went with the flow and released what they wanted to release initially before all these different reshoots back in late 2018 and into mid-2019. Now, with that being said, what's rather intriguing is that with the Skywalker saga now over by Disney, many fans have been very worried about the future of the franchise by Disney and Lucasfilm, where it's noted that the film went through a very tough production during the months of August, September, and October for the fans. Now, it's explained that creator George Lucas was very frustrated with Kathleen Kennedy's decision to bring back Palpatine in the flesh during the reshoots of the film, and that George did not agree with Kathleen Kennedy and that they had a very rough relationship coming up with these ideas and forcing it onto J.J. Abrams to bring this character back, as it would alter the meaning of the end of Return of the Jedi and Anakin's sacrifice. It's explained that initially George, J.J. Abrams, and Chris agreed on a better idea to only bring back Palpatine as a spirit. However, this was completely changed at last minute by Kathleen Kennedy during the first phase of reshoots back in late 2018, November and December to be exact, before the trailer ever debuted, and that the return of Palpatine was not an idea by George Lucas or JJ, but rather Kathleen Kennedy, bringing the character back in the flesh to sell more tickets, as they were left with no villain after Rian Johnson just killed both Snoke and the hero Luke Skywalker. Now, it's noted that George wanted to use more of Colin Trevorrow's ideas, such as going back to the world of Coruscant and Darth Vader scenes and stuff around those lines in JJ's version of the film, and that Kathleen Kennedy refused to do this, as it would be too much of a callback to the prequels, and that was an actual recipe for disaster, in Kathleen Kennedy's eyes, for the new Star Wars film at the time. George was said to not show up at the premiere of the film because of the frustration he had with Kathleen Kennedy and with the creative differences that he had with Disney and Lucasfilm. So, the thing about George Lucas, and I really do feel bad for the guy, I really do. I mean, yes, it's partially his fault to a certain extent. If you really didn't want this to happen, you shouldn't have sold Lucasfilm over to Disney. If you didn't do that, we wouldn't have had this. But, at the same exact time, Star Wars is here, and a lot of Star Wars fans were created out of the Disney Star Wars universe, and it actually led to a lot of people to go ahead and watch the originals and the prequels. So, new Star Wars fans were created that are now watching the originals and the prequels and actually love them. So, when we look at the Disney Star Wars films, right, if you guys like them, that is fine. Now, I actually do believe that The Force Awakens was a decent Star Wars movie. The Last Jedi I absolutely hated. The Rise of Skywalker was a somewhat decent Star Wars film with a handful of, flaws in the mix and problems here and there. So George Lucas having these frustrations with, of course, Kathleen Kennedy and how their relationship, right, as business partners was really a rocky thing. It was really like a shaky thing throughout production. And that's the thing here. When you look at everything related to what Disney and Lucasfilm have done with the character of Luke and how they always had to change, specific elements of the Skywalker saga, never was anything really even in these Star Wars movies. There was always like a shift because of the different directors and the different writers coming on board, different creatives being let go or fired. you can really tell that it's not consistent all the way through, and that's the one problem, is that they never had a true outline of exactly who is who, or, you know, what person's place is in the galaxy at this point in time. So I think that's one of the main reasons as to why The Rise of Skywalker feels, you know, very much convoluted and rushed at many points in time in the movie. And like I say, you know, George Lucas not showing up at the premiere because of the frustrations, you know, very unfortunate that we did not get to see him at the premiere. Wish we could have. But with that being said, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to morning.